Greetings and salutations. I trust I find you all well. Welcome to the Pineal Lighthouse Sanctum of Knowledge. The purpose of this broadcast is to share with you a story, a narrative, a memory, a stream of information channeled directly by I, the sovereign soul embodied as Agua Akbal Zizi, in collaboration with the Pineal Lighthouse Sanctum of Knowledge initiates and trustees. The subject matter of this channeled memory is the Anunnaki Remembrance Codex of Pangaea. Quarantine, sanctions, amnesty, activation, transcendence, and ascension. This codex transmission will be presented in the following chapter format. 1. Memory sanctions from the year 0 to the year 2165. Quarantine cycles and resets. 2. Pangaean nativity timeline. Past, future, present memory scripts. 3. Simulation grid, geometric overlay, Nimrod Babylonian technology. 4. Simulation bondage agreement, current cycle from the Gregorian year 6066 to the year 2020, 360 years, Khazarian Cabal Zionist simulation program. 5. Simulation cycles, current paradigm, 2000 to 2033, current phase of simulation transition. 6. Ascension protocols, terms and conditions, 2000 to 2165, jurisdictive terms of the New World Order. 7. Optimus Prime and alternate timelines, divergent inception. 8. Heliosphere, zodiac worlds, dimensional realms, and memory root races. Pangaea memory sanctions, Gregorian year 0 to the year 2165. For just over 2,000 years, this realm of Pangaea has been in memory capitulation cycles, powered by various simulation matrix programs projected through the grid portals of Saturn and the Moon. For the duration of this Saturn-Moon simulation cycle, various simulation gatekeepers of time have assumed the role of custodianship of this realm. The last simulation gatekeepers of time were the Morano Cabal, also known as the Moors, and the current simulation gatekeepers of time are known as the Khazarian Cabal. The role of such entities has been to gatekeep the memories of Pangaea until such a time when the memory quarantine sanctions are lifted. The lifting of the memory quarantine and sanctions on Pangaea were officially activated in the Gregorian year 2000 with a 165-year transition period. The transcending, ascension, and rapture process of Pangaean memories will transpire over a 165-year period in 5 phases of 33-year intervals beginning in the Gregorian year 2000. It is important to note that this 165-year transition period will have 2 divergent timelines operating simultaneously: the sovereign New Earth timeline and the simulated digital corporate timeline. Both paradigms and timelines of reality within this realm will coexist simultaneously but separate for the duration of the ascension process from the Gregorian year 2020 to the year 2165. The 2 timelines will begin as one paradigm and gradually diverge further away from each other over the course of the evolutionary process.
We are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks, and it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no? See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. And when I was at Findhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. Just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old, and he always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "Ah, New York, yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different Pineal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they've built. They've built their own prison, and so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they've made, or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." See, actually for 2 or 3 years now, Chiquita and I have had this very unpleasant feeling that we really should get out. And we really should feel like Jews in Germany in the late 30s. Get out of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, and that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet. Now, of course, Bjornstrand feels that there's really almost no hope, and that we're probably going back to a very savage, lawless, terrifying period. Findhorn people see it a little differently. They're feeling that there'll be these pockets of light springing up in different parts of the world, and that these will be, in a way, invisible planets on this planet. And that as we, or the world, grow colder, We can take invisible space journeys to these different planets, refuel for what it is we need to do on the planet itself, and come back. And it's their feeling that there have to be centers now where people can come and reconstruct a new future for the world. And when I was talking to Gustav Bjornstrand, he was saying that actually these centers are growing up everywhere now. And that what they're trying to do, which is what Findhorn was trying to do, and in a way, what I was trying to do. I mean, these things can't be given names, but in a way, these are all attempts at creating a new kind of school or a new kind of monastery. And Bjornstrand talks about the concept of reserves, islands of safety, where history can be remembered and the human being can continue to function in order to maintain the species through a dark age. In other words, we're talking about an underground, which did exist in a different way during the Dark Ages among the mystical orders of the Church. And the purpose of this underground is to find out how to preserve the light, life, the culture, how to keep things living. You see, I keep thinking that what we need is a new language, a language of the heart. Languages in the Polish forest where language wasn't needed. Some kind of language between people that is a new kind of poetry. That's the poetry of the dancing bee that tells us where the honey is. And I think that in order to create that language, you're going to have to learn how you can go through a looking glass into another kind of perception where you have that sense of being united to all things, and suddenly you understand everything.
(2000 to 2033), Memory Simulation and Rapture Period, Sovereign New Earth Timeline, Memory Remembrance and Revelation Portals to open, Sovereign Exodus from the simulated systems back to nature for DNA calibration and memory rehabilitation through community initiatives, Corporate Simulation Timeline, Memory Recapitulation through transhuman biological therapies, installation of corporatized simulation systems and artificial biodynamic programs for memory recapitulation into digital two-dimensional simulations, the metaverse. 2033 to 2066, Memory Reconstruction and Reparation Period, Sovereign New Earth Timeline, Sovereign inheritance of all natural land and resources of Pangaea to be returned to all sovereign status entities, Corporate Simulation Timeline, Transhuman Bondage, Application of COVID Memory Capitulation Program, Smart City Assimilation via the Transhuman Neuralink Programs, Establishment of permanent corporate simulated quarantine zones and time cycles. 2066 to 2099, Memory Activation and Ascension Period, Sovereign New Earth Timeline, Transition from third-dimensional atomic memory and matter to crystalline fifth-dimensional memory and matter, Supernatural Paradigm Shift. Corporate Simulation Timeline, Transition from third-dimensional atomic memory and matter to two-dimensional digital memory, the Metaverse Paradigm Shift. 2099 to 2132, Sovereign New Earth Timeline, High Resolution Period, Original Pangaean memory codes fully reinstated, Pandora starseed soul entities return to original zodiac paradigms, Capriae Council of Pangaea 144,000 reinstated into the Anunnaki Galactic Federation. 2133 to 2165, Simulation Dissolution Period, all simulation matrix programs fully dissolved from Pangaean Earth Grid and fully assimilated into the Metaverse Memory Cycle Program, Pangaean crystalline fifth dimensional manifestation codes activated. all previous simulation memory codes permanently deleted from the Earth's grid system and returned to original settings. The Pangean Nativity Timeline: Past, Future, and Present Memory Scripts. This realm of Pangea has been quarantined and sanctioned into a memory capitulation time sphere. This capsule has been coded to create overlay simulation programs of collective memory, which manifests simulated or deep fake realities of space, time, and matter within this realm's sphere of influence. The original simulation coders were a cabal of 72 extraterrestrial deviant soul entities who infiltrated this realm's Pangean Anunnaki Council, who were known as the Capriae Order. The Capriae Order of Pangea consisted of 12,000 elder races of souls who served the various Pangean tribes as wisdom keepers, alchemists, priests, shamans, guardians, and chiefs, amongst other roles. They were the wisest and most experienced souls whose role in society was to mediate and hold homogeneous space for the greater prosperity of the collective. When the 72 Nephilim infiltrated the Pangean Anunnaki Council, or the Caprian Order of 12,000, they began corrupting the original natural codes by inserting and programming corrupt simulation codes of memory that eventually led to the Great War of the Worlds, the fall of Pangea, the collapse of the Capriae Order, installation of the heliosphere time capsule, and beginning of the memory capitulation Saturn-Moon matrix. The original extraterrestrial Anunnaki invaders and infiltrators are sometimes referred to as the fallen angels or Nephilim. They consisted of soul entities from other extraterrestrial Anunnaki zodiac worlds who conspired with interdimensional extraterrestrials from the Atlantean realm. Their prime methods of simulation control was through the inception of artificial genetic technologies. However, before the extraterrestrial simulation takeover and subsequent fall of Pangea into simulated trance cycles of time, the Galactic Council inserted 72 wisdom timekeepers into the Pangean simulation as sleeper cells. These 72 wisdom keepers, also known as the Elder Race, consisted of various Anunnaki Council elders from the 3 Anunnaki Earth zodiac worlds who volunteered themselves for the mission at hand. Anunnaki zodiac constellations of the Earth. The role of the 72 wisdom keepers is to hold positively charged space in balance with the negatively charged energy being projected by the 72 Nephilim simulation conspirators. The 72 elder wisdom keepers have been assimilating as sleeper cells within the various cycles of simulations, only activating at various junctions of time when equilibrium energy was needed to balance the Pangean toroidal field and biosphere, most notably during simulation reset intervals. The 72 wisdom keepers are memory receivers pre-sent to act as the memory awakening viral servers. The 72 original Nephilim are the soul bloodlines that have been incarnating as the occult elite timekeepers. They have been gatekeeping time in this realm over the various simulation cycles, beginning with the first simulation program orchestrated in Babylon, led by the Nimrod cabal of simulation coders, leading up to the present Zionist simulation cycle, led by the modern Nimrod coders known as the Khazarian Cabal. The original negatively charged 72 Nephilim and positively charged 72 Wisdom Keepers make up the Equilibrium 144 original elder race of souls that have been gatekeeping the Pangean frequency of time. As the Pangean quarantine and memory simulation program approaches its expiration, the 72 original Nephilim timekeepers will begin to lose their memory capacity, and the original 72 elder wisdom keepers will begin to remember and activate their original memory codes. The 72 Nephilim soul entities are attempting to save their memory capacity using two-dimensional artificial simulation programs, or meta technology, and their intent is to take as many native Pangean souls with them into a digital AI metaverse simulation paradigm. The mission of the awakening 72 wisdom keepers is to fully remember themselves with their original memory codes, channel, amplify, transmit, and radiate their vibrational frequency into the collective simulated hive mind. By doing so, they will act as the viral main server that will serve to initiate and activate the memory codes of the 144,000 galactic starseeds who volunteered for the great works at hand. The 144,000 volunteer starseeds were predominantly composed of wisdom keepers, alchemists, priests, shamans, guardians, and chiefs from their respective dimensions and worlds of our heliosphere. The 144,000 starseeds, 12,000 from each of the 12 zodiac worlds, are divided into 4 soul groups, 36,000 soul entities from each of the 4 elemental dimensions. Dimensions and zodiac worlds. The 36,000 volunteer souls from the 12 zodiac worlds make up the 144,000 starseeds inseminated into Pangaea as sleeper cells. The 144,000 starseeds are the 12 tribes that hold the galactic Isis Ra'el vibrational key to unlocking the heliosphere time capsule, which will lift the quarantine and dispel the Pandora trance. The 144,000 starseeds are serving as the lightworkers pre-sent to deactivate the simulation time capsule of Pangaea when they align and emit their Isis, Ra, and El 432 vibrational code. In effect, the 72 starseed wisdom keepers are activating their memories to amplify the 144,000 starseed lightworkers who will emit their timestamps to liberate the realm of Pangaea from the heliospheric memory time capsule. When the heliospheric dome desimulates, etheric prana will flood this realm, activating the 432 million original native indigo souls of Pangaea. These are the indigo beings of Pangaea that have the memory capacity to fully activate their memory fields. The 432 million souls are the captive Gentiles, Jews or jewels of Pandora, who will eventually inherit sovereign custodianship of Pangaea at the end of this reset transition, circa 2165. At the close of this chapter and beginning of the new, the 144,000 starseeds will return to their original zodiac worlds and resume their respective native zodiac responsibilities. The 72 elder starseeds will also be free to return and assimilate into their respective original zodiac worlds and resume their Galactic Council responsibilities. The 432 million indigo natives of Pangaea will resume their duties as guardians of this realm, collectively orchestrating the dissimulation of Pangaea from the Babylonian matrix back to her original settings. Most humans alive today are simulated entities without sovereign memory capacity, or Agent Smiths. This memory soul group will not have the memory capacity to transcend the digital simulation programming. They will be digitally cloned into deeper simulations such as the metaverse paradigm via various digital transhuman simulation technologies.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens, because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Now, why is data so important? It's important because we've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms. Now, what do you need in order to hack a human being? You need two things. You need a lot of computing power, and you need a lot of data, especially biometric data. But control of data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds. The IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life, after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds, science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm. Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
That's over.
Over. Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it.
Vaccine won't help us go
the
to the test, of course.
vaccine will help us, of course. It will make things, you know, more manageable. Surveillance. People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it.
Natural selection is replaced by intelligent design. The era of inorganic life is now beginning.
In the coming decades, AI and biotechnology will give us godlike abilities to re-engineer life and even to create completely new life forms. We are about to enter a new era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. Our intelligent design.
The reason that our captors keep doing these resets, like the Tartarian Mud Flood and the 2030 Great Reset, is because eventually we always remember. Fortunately for us, our Book of Life, or DNA, has all the old chapters still written in it, and they don't know how to get those chapters out. What they do instead is genetically modify us so we turn into different beings. We used to be much different than we are today. They also tell us that all of that DNA that stores the ancestors' memories is junk, so we don't look into it. They also put RNA and DNA blockers on the genetic chain so it turns off a bunch of our DNA. This limits our lifespan, intelligence, melanation, and much more. But like I said, lucky enough for us, we always end up remembering, because all that DNA is still there. And some of us even know how to turn it back on and access those memories. And what happens every now and then is there's a critical mass of remembrance, which then automatically leads to us turning our superpowers back on. It always starts with one person who then electrically activates other people to start remembering as well. They start tapping into these memories and then they start telling other people about it. Meanwhile, that morphogenetic field is being activated to turn all of us back on so we can wake up. Their only answer to this is to wipe out civilization, burn all the books in the library, rewrite history, and throw anyone that disagrees into an insane asylum. This is what happened during the Tartarian mud floods. Although they keep many of the old buildings, and this is our biggest key to understanding what happened in the past. All the churches, state buildings, and banks are a key to understanding those buildings, the technology.
The simulation system of our Pangean realm is powered by underground electromagnetic grid systems that were built as circuit cities by the original Nimrod simulation coders during the Babylonian timeline just after the Great War of the Worlds, memory capitulation, and time quarantine of Pangaea. The construction of the Earth's Babylonian energy grid harvesting circuit cities was initiated by a cabal of extraterrestrial entities known as the Nephilim. The lead architect of this very first simulation grid system was a Nephilim entity known as Nimrod or Gilgamesh. These underground circuits are ancient Babylonian cities that were built with technologies that have the ability to withdraw and convert energy from electromagnetic sources using melanin neuroreceptors.
Melanin pigment, right?
Right.
Is so unbelievable, George. They're using it in computer chips now because it has an ability to transduce electrical energy. Can you imagine this? It has this incredible ability to hold on to and transduce and manipulate electrons, electronic energy, and photons, photonic energy. It's a fascinating molecule.
Currently, the underground Babylonian grid circuit is being used to harvest electromagnetic energy from the human populations living in the above-ground cities and urban areas of today. All modern urban areas are built on top of activated Babylonian energy circuit grid systems. Effectively, all surface world urban areas, cities, towns, neighborhoods, and densely populated areas above ground serve as modern plug-in grid circuit board simulation overlays. The living populations of people operating within the overground simulation grid serve as energy conduits that charge the simulation overlay system with their piezoelectric melanin via photon mitochondrial transfer. All surface urban areas plugged into the grid system are tethered to the underground Babylonian grid and designed to directly draw magnetic currents of energy, neuromelanin, from the humans, which is then converted into alternating currents of electric energy, which is used to power the various modern simulation systems and paradigms. Humans living and operating within grid-activated jurisdictions above ground are the energy source and currency that powers the current simulation reality.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment, weapons, training simulations, anything we need.
Right now, we're inside a computer program?
Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone. Your hair has changed. Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop. Let me out. Let me out. I want out.
The underground Babylonian grid circuit systems are powered by monatomic gold-vaulted central processing units, strategically located in capitalized cities around the world. All capital city central business districts, or CBD centers, built directly above activated Babylonian grid ley lines, have underground gold-vaulted central processing units, or gold CPUs. The world's largest Babylonian CPU vault, under Khazarian control, was in New York, beneath the surface of the Twin Towers. This major CPU grid was deactivated by the Acturian forces in the year 2001. This Acturian intervention also deactivated the Pentagon's Looking Glass project, which was Babylonian energy manipulation hardware technology. This unprecedented Acturian intervention was a show of force to the Khazarian cabal for their breach of protocol, failure to willingly deactivate the Pentagon's Y2K Babylonian Looking Glass project technology. The various major Babylonian CBD simulation CPUs around the world are to be systematically deactivated before the end of this first 33-year cycle, from the Gregorian year 2000 to the year 2033. It appears as though most of the simulation CPU grids will be simultaneously deactivated at an undisclosed date before the year 2030. See Project Cyber Polygon and the Great Reset Agenda.
Масштабы киберугроз сегодня таковы, что нейтрализовать их можно только вместе, объединив усилия всего международного сообщества.
The simulation gatekeepers are currently transferring the world's simulation programs out of the Earth's Babylonian grid system and re-uploading them into the etheric digital AI simulated grid system, the COVID Smart City Zones. Deactivation of the entire Pangean Babylonian simulation Earth grid has been mandated by the Galactic Federation, will enable the Earth's geomagnetic field to begin recalibrating to her natural organic 432 vibrational frequency and subsequently accelerate the Pangean memory ascension process.
The gathering of the tribe. Once upon a time, a great tribe of people lived in a world far away from ours. Whether far away in space or in time, or even outside of time, we do not know. They lived in a state of enchantment and joy that few of us today dare to believe could exist, except in those exceptional peak experiences where we glimpse the true potential of life and mind. One day, the elders of the tribe called a meeting. They gathered around, and one of them spoke very solemnly. "My friends," she said, "there is a world that needs our help. It is called Earth, and its fate hangs in the balance. Its humans have reached a critical point in their collective birthing, the same point our own planet was at 1 million years ago, and they will be stillborn without our help. Who would like to volunteer for a mission to this time and place and render service to humanity?" "Tell us more about the mission," they asked. "It is no small thing. Our shaman will put you into a deep, deep trance so complete that you will forget who you are. You will live a human life, and in the beginning, you will completely forget your origins. You will forget even our language and your own true name. You will be separated from the wonder and beauty of our world, and from the love that bathes us all. You will miss it deeply, yet you will be unable to name what you are missing. You will remember the love and beauty that we know to be normal only as a longing in your heart. Your memory will take the form of an intuitive knowledge as you plunge into the painfully marred earth that a more beautiful world is possible. As you grow up in that world, your knowledge will be under constant assault. You will be told in a million ways that a world of destruction, violence, drudgery, anxiety, and degradation is normal. You may go through a time when you are completely alone, with no allies to affirm your knowledge of a more beautiful world. You may plunge into a depth of despair that we, in our world of light, cannot imagine. But no matter what, a spark of knowledge will never leave you. A memory of your true origin will be encoded in your DNA. That spark will lie within you, inextinguishable, until one day it is awakened. You see, even though you will feel, for a time, utterly alone, you will not be alone. We will send you assistance, help that you will experience as miraculous, experiences that you will describe as transcendent. These will fan that spark into a flame. For a few moments or hours or days, you will reawaken to the beauty and the joy that is meant to be. You will see it on Earth. For even though the planet and its people are deeply wounded, there is beauty there still, projected from past and future onto the present as a promise of what is possible and a reminder of what is real. After that glimpse, the flame may die down into an ember again as the routines of normal life there swallow you up. But after each awakening, they will seem less normal, and the story of that world will seem less real. The ember will glow brighter. When enough embers do that, they will all burst into flame together and sustain each other. Because remember, you will not be there alone. As you begin to awaken to your mission, you will meet others of our tribe. You will recognize them by your common purpose, values, and intuitions, and by the similarity of the paths you have walked. As the condition of the planet Earth reaches crisis proportions, your paths will cross more and more. The time of loneliness, the time of thinking you might be crazy, will be over. You will find the people of your tribe all over the Earth and become aware of them through the long-distance communication technologies used on that planet. But the real shift, the real quickening, will happen in face-to-face gatherings. Gatherings in special places. When many of you gather together, you will launch a new stage on your journey. A journey that, I assure you, will end where it begins right now. Then, the mission that lay unconscious within you will flower into consciousness. Your intuitive rebellion against the world presented to you as normal will become an explicit quest to create a more beautiful one. A woman said, "Tell me more about the time of loneliness, that we might prepare for it." The elder said, "In the time of loneliness, you will always be seeking to reassure yourself that you are not crazy. You will do that by telling people all about what is wrong with the world, and you will feel a sense of betrayal when they don't listen to you. You might hunger for stories of wrongness, atrocity, and ecological destruction, all of which confirm the validity of your intuition that a more beautiful world exists. But after you have fully received the help we will send you, and the quickening of your gatherings, you will no longer need to do that, because you will know. Your energy will thereafter turn toward actively creating that more beautiful world." A tribeswoman asked, "How do you know this will work? Are you sure our shaman's powers are great enough to send us on such a journey?" The elder replied, "I know it will work because he has done it many times before. Many have already been sent to Earth to live human lives and to lay the groundwork for the mission you will undertake now. He's been practicing. The only difference now is that many of you will venture there at once. What is new in the time you will live in is that you will gather in critical mass and will each awaken the other to your mission. The heat you will generate will kindle the same spark that lies in every human being. For in truth, each one is from a tribe like ours. The whole galaxy and beyond is converging on Earth, for never before has a planet journeyed so far into separation and made it back again. Those of you who go will be part of a new step in cosmic evolution. A tribesman asked, "Is there a danger we will become lost in that world and never wake up from the shamanic trance? Is there a danger that the despair, the cynicism, the pain of separation will be so great that it will extinguish the spark of hope, the spark of our true selves in origin, and that we will be separated from our beloved ones forever?" The elder replied, "That is impossible. The more deeply you get lost, the more powerful the help we will send you. You might experience it at the time as a collapse of your personal world, the loss of everything important to you. Later, you will recognize the gift within it. We will never abandon you." Another man asked, "Is it possible that our mission will fail and that this planet Earth will perish?" The elder replied, "I will answer your question with a paradox. It is impossible that your mission will fail, yet its success hangs on your own actions. The fate of the world is in your hands. The key to this paradox lies within you, in the feeling you carry that each of your actions, even your personal secret struggles, has cosmic significance. You will know then, as you know now, that everything you do matters." There were no more questions. The volunteers gathered in a circle, and the shaman went to each one. The last thing each was aware of was the shaman blowing smoke in his or her face. They entered a deep trance and dreamed themselves into the world where we find ourselves today. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are.
Prophecy from our native ancestors. When the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, a new tribe of people shall come onto the earth from many colors, classes, creeds, and who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth whole again. They will be known as the warriors of the rainbow, the children of the new earth.
During these times of change, the rivers of life will begin to flow very fast. They will flow so great and swift that there will be those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel they are torn apart and will suffer greatly. You too will find yourself in one of these rivers. Know this, all rivers have a destination. In these times of tribulation, we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of our river, keep our eyes open and our heads above water. See who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt.
From Bible to tribal, Cain to Abel, this is no fable. Hear, hear, witness the rise of the 432, resistance of the 144. 12 lost tribes of Dan, 3 genetic sons and daughters of man. Activate the ascension DNA of Dan. From Papal Portugal, the kingdom of Pineal, we come bearing gifts of good news, the Gospels of Genesis. Star seed children of the new earth, we are the ancestors of old. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are here to fulfill the prophecies of old. We are the creation of a new beginning. Alchemy of Pineal is the key to Eden, gateway to cross over the other side to Paradise, Portugal, where the stars of Aurora become superstars of Pylite, singing gospels of home to the promised land of change. This is Pineal's tribal echo, genesis of is, Ra, Al.
From the kingdom of Pineal, we give thanks moment to moment, growing in the wisdom of change. May your journey be filled with greatness, inner chi.
The Pineal, seed of life. An immeasurable paradise. I am spirit, I am matter. I am the living breath of nature. I am one with the law. I am of the land, air, and water. I am natural, I am free. I am sovereign, abundant, happy. I give thanks for all that is, for I am part of all that is. As above, so below, as within, without is how you go. I am kin of the dome, kingdom of Pineal is I am home. All through creation, we breathe to this nation of life. We breathe to this nation of life. The Pineal, seed of life. An immeasurable paradise.